I'm Denise, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be making cheesy jalapeno bread. So, let's get started. So, in my bowl here, I have 6.5 cups of flour. The recipe calls for 8 cups, but I'm just starting out with 6.5, and then I'll see how it comes together, and if it's too wet, I can still add more. It's easier to add more flour than to take away flour if it's too dry. So, now, to this 6.5 cups of flour, we are going to add, in this bowl here, I have about 3.5 cups of grated old cheese, and I also added like chunks of the cheddar. And we're gonna put this into our flour. We're gonna add that. Mix this in around. We're going to also add, here I have about, a little over a cup of minced jalapeno peppers. The recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup, but I wanted it a little bit more spicy, and I also added just a few seeds because I did want a little bit of heat in there. So we're going to add this to the mixture. Stir that all around, get it all incorporated in there. This bread is actually really nice. It makes great sandwiches, like great grilled cheese sandwiches, go with tomato soup or something. And also, this recipe makes 3 loaves of bread. That's why we have so much here. Okay, so now I'm adding 1.5 teaspoons of salt to that. And then I'm also adding 7 tablespoons of white sugar. There's actually half a cup of white sugar in this whole recipe, but 7 tablespoons are going into the dry mixture. 1 tablespoon went into our yeast mixture. So in this bowl, I have 2 cups of warm water, like room temperature, and I have 3 packages of quick acting yeast, and the 1 tablespoon of sugar that I dissolve first, right? Then you add your yeast and let it rise. So this has risen beautifully. So I'm going to put this aside just for a second, because to my yeast here, I am going to add the oil. So I have 4 tablespoons of just vegetable oil. I'm going to add that to my mix here. Spoon, sorry. So I'm going to stir all this up right now. My yeast and my water and the oil. This is very much alive. So just a little tip, when you're shopping for yeast, always check the expiry date on your yeast, because there's nothing worse than going to make bread or what have you, any yeast dough, and your yeast is out of date and it won't rise. So always make sure you check your dates. So now back to our dry mixture here. I'm going to make a well in the middle here, and I'm going to start adding the liquid into the middle. I always start off with a wooden spoon, and then I get my hands in there. So we're going to just stir it around, start getting it wet. I don't even think, by the looks of things, I don't even think I'm going to need that extra flour, actually, because this looks like it might be wet enough. So now, just going to get my hands in there. Start mixing this around. So we're back. I've got it all mixed in. So now what we have to do is knead this dough for like 15 minutes. You got to give it some good kneading. Now, because this has got so much stuff in it, you know, you're going to lose little bits here and there, but you know what? Just gather them up and put them back in. Otherwise, you know, you're going to lose it all. But, so what I was going to say too is when I knead bread, you know, some recipes they say sprinkle the board with flour or something and knead. I don't do that because what I find is it just adds more flour to your dough and your dough ends up getting drier and drier. So what I do is I smear just a little bit, like not like a tiny little bit of shortening, Crisco shortening. I just rub my board down, or my countertop actually, I don't have a kneading board, down with the shortening, and I do it like that. And then your dough stays nice and moist and it doesn't stick. Yeah, you can see all the little bits here, but that's okay because this is going to be such good bread. So I'll keep kneading, and then once I have it all kneaded, I'm going to put it back into a greased bowl for it to rise for about an hour until it's doubled in size, right? We're going to cover it, keep it in a nice warm place so this little baby gets bigger. So I've been kneading this for about 15 minutes now, but I just wanted to show you guys when recipes say knead till smooth and elastic, I just want to show you what that looks like actually. So elastic, it's meaning like it'll bounce back when you poke it, see? So it's not leaving an indent in there. So this has been kneaded quite well actually. And then, so now I have my grease bowl. So I'm going to put it in there. And then I always like to add a little bit on the top. Just some shortening, just so that, you know, it doesn't get all dried out, right? So just put a little bit like that. And then I'm going to cover it with some cling wrap as well. Just going to put that over the top, a little bit like that. Okay, and then we're going to put it to sleep for a little while. Cover it up so it's nice and warm. I always like put mine on the stove because I like it to be, it's a little bit warmer there for whatever reason. Maybe because my stove's on all the time. Anyway, so we'll come back in an hour and take a look at this, see how big it gets. Okay, so I'm back and our dough is risen. It's doubled in size. So now we're just going to punch this down. Turn it out of the bowl onto the counter. This looks lovely. So what we're going to do now is we're going to divide this dough into 3, hopefully, equal pieces for our 3 loaves of bread. So I'm just going to, looks a bit good. I'm going to divide that up. There we go. Shape them into balls for a minute. Put them off to the side while I work with the one. So now we're going to shape these into our loaves. This one actually is maybe a little bit bigger than, so I'll just add this to my other 2 balls there. Okay. So now what I like to do, I push mine out. You slam it down, it kind of helps get rid of the air bubbles. I like to shape mine into like a square or rectangle at first. Get it as best you can anyways. And I use a rolling pin actually. Just go over it. It helps push out the air too. You can see the air bubbles actually underneath moving around in there. So now, excuse me, sorry, I didn't mean to snip there. So now what I like to do is start rolling my dough up. And I push it down the heel of my hand. Try and work out air bubbles as I go along. Get it shaped into a loaf. Doing this, pushing it down with the heel of your hand forcing the air out, helps so that when you go to cut your bread, you know, you're not going to get one of those big, huge empty holes in the middle of your loaf. So then just tuck in the ends, like so. Tuck them in. There's one. So we're going to put it into our loaf pan. Got one here. I haven't greased it yet, sorry. I forgot to grease this. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly grease this for you. Put it in there. My pan. Put it right up the sides because it's going to rise again. We have to do a second rise on this. There we go. Okay. Get it all in there. These bread tins are probably as old as I am. They were my mother's. I still use them all the time. Okay, so there's one. So I'm gonna finish doing up the other two loaves, and then we're gonna set these to rise again for about another 45 minutes to an hour. So these have risen now on the second rise for an hour. Look at big, beautiful loaves of bread. So they're ready to go in the oven. I have my oven already preheated to 325. So I'm going to put them in the oven and let them bake for about an hour. And as they're baking, you should rotate the pans around after about 25 minutes or so, just so that they're a nice even brown all the way around. So we'll see you after they're all baked. Hi, so here's our bread. It's all done, beautifully baked. It looks great. Nice and cheesy. You can smell the jalapenos. It's beautiful. Let's give it a taste. Okay, so let's give this a taste because I think it's going to be really good. I can smell it already. Oh, that bread is so good. You can definitely taste the jalapeno. Not too strong though. And the cheddar is so good. It's through the whole bread. It's not really spicy. It's got just enough bite. I think if you wanted to add more bite, you would add, you know, put in some more seeds. But for me, this is like the best bread. Toast it, make a grilled cheese sandwich. You know, you could make grilled ham and cheese sandwiches, serve it with soup, have a beer with it, have a glass of wine with it. It's delicious. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to see some more stuff, just leave me a message. Bye.